What's going on, everybody? It is Christros here, and today we got another deck for you guys, and we're going to bring back a classic. So this is going to be an updated deck list for my older videos. So with that out of the way, I hope you all enjoy. And before we get into the deck, I got one thing to say. I know it's been a while since my last deck profile. I am working on two other decks, Mathmex and Sous Ships, and I got a third one here for a surprise, but that'll come later. So I got two other decks in the works that I'm getting footage for, but it's taking a while. I'm having computer problems at the moment, so getting some new parts in and stuff like that. So like I said, with all that out of the way, let's get into the deck, and I just want to thank you guys all for the support. It's been amazing. So with all of that done, let's get into today's deck profile, and we are doing Magical Musketeers. So I've done this deck profile once before. This is an updated deck list of it all. So with that in mind, let's get into it. So first thing first is our hand traps. We got 3 Max C. Simple as that. This card, until it gets banned, we're gonna fucking use it. So why not? Basically, if your opponent starts special summoning, you could send this card from your hand to the graveyard, and every time they special summon, you could just draw a card. So it's a really good. This card by itself could basically just win you games. So we got 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. This card, yet again, is amazing. If your opponent adds a card from the deck to the hand, special summons from the deck, and or sends a card from the deck to the graveyard, you could discard this card to the graveyard and then negate that effect. Really good card, really amazing. These 6 cards are basic staples. You really want to run them. We have a couple more hand traps. We have Nibiru, just 1, and this is our cross out of the designator target, just in case our opponent has it. We got 2 Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is really great. If your opponent Max sees you, you can Call by it and negate the effects of Max C. You can negate the effects of Ash Blossom or negate the effects of any other card your opponent wants to use. We got 1 Cross Out Designator. You could take a 1 card name, banish the declared card from your main deck, and if you do, negates the effect. You can, target Max C, Ash Blossom, Nibiru, Infinite Permanents, anything like that. Then our last hand trap is Infinite Permanents. You can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, negates its effects. Then this card's set before its activation is on the field as at resolution. For less than a turn, all spell trap cards in this column are negated. Like I said, really good effect, and yeah, definitely worth running 3, especially in a control deck like this. And that is all of our hand traps. With the hand traps out of the way, let's get into our card by card. So for the best card in the deck, we got 3 Magical Musketeer Caspar. Caspar is just amazing. During either player's turn, you could activate Magical Musketeer spell and trap cards from your hand. Now, all Magical Musketeers have that effect, so we're not going to go over that effect anymore. All of them have it. Now, this one states if a spell trap card is activated in this card's column, except during the damage step, you could add 1 Magical Musket card from your deck to your hand, but not a card with the same name as the activated card. You can only use the effect of Magical Caspar once per turn. So basically what this card states is if you use any of your spell and trap cards like Card Buy, Pod that Desires, anything, or if your opponent uses a spell trap in this column, you could search out any of your Magical Musketeer cards. That's Doctor, that is Kid Brave, that is Starfire, that's your spells and traps. It's anything that you could want at that time frame. So one of the best cards, you want to run 3 of them. There's no ands or buts about it. We got 2 Doctor. Doctor, I was running 3 at one point. I cut him down to 2. I'm even thinking about cutting him down to 1 because he's good for the long grind games. So like I said, he's not a great opener, but really good for the long grind games. So basically speaking, what this card does, if a spell trap is activated in this card's column, you could add 1 Magical Musketeer card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's nice to get back resources like your spell and traps that you already used. But like I said, it's only good if you already used them. And with that in mind, you have better options. So to me, it's just a 2 of. Now think about our list of 3 ofs. We got 3 Kid Brave. Kid Brave's a really good one. If a spell trap card is activated in this card column, you could discard 1 Magical Musketeer card and draw 2 cards. Simple as that. So you can get rid of any of the Magical Musketeer cards you already used that turn and just draw 2. And usually, that's just a great effect. Any Pot of Greed effect's always amazing. Then lastly, we got 3 Starfire. Starfire is really good. So what Starfire does is, if a spell trap is activated in this card column, you can special summon one level 4 or lower magical musket monster from your deck in defense position. This allows you to really, like, you could use Starfire, negate like a monster effect. Then you could special summon Caspar. Caspar allows you to continue your plays because then you can use another spell trap on Caspar's column to get even more spell traps to your hand. The resource loop this deck can have is just amazing. So it's a very low monster count, and because of that, there is some issues with the deck, but we'll get into that in a bit. But for that, that's all the monsters. Now let's get into the cards. So we are running 3 Pot of Desires. Pot of Desires is not the greatest. There are times when Pot of Desires can bite you in the ass. We could banish a lot of your Musketeer cards or banish some important spells and traps. It is what it is. In all honesty, if you wanted to replace this for like Pot of Pot of Prosperity, or what is the other one, Pot of Extravagance, that's perfectly fine also. The issue with Pot of Extravagance is you don't want to banish your maxes, so it is random. Like I said, if you wanted to run like 2 Extravagance and 1 Prosperity, that's perfectly fine. Then lastly, we got 1 Double or Nothing. This is for our OTKs. We can go into rank 4s, not often, but we can duel into them since we have we have multiple Starfires. So just having, like I said, just having the option for rank 4s is important. So having 1 Double and Up then for the Utopia and double Utopia lines are really important. We got 3 Cross Domination. Cross Domination is amazing. What this card is you can target 1 face-up monster on the field until the end of this turn, change its attack and defense to 0, and its effects are negated. It's a really amazing card. It could stop your opponent's plays real easy, and it allows you to attack over certain boss monsters very, very easily on top of that. We got 2 Called by the Grave, 1 Crossout Designator, and that is all for our spells. Now, for our traps, we got 3 Desperado. Desperado is just amazing. You can target 1 face-up card on the field and destroy it. Simple as that. Then we got 2 Dancing Needle. Dancing Needle is really good. You can target up to 3 cards in any graveyard and banish them, such as your own graveyard or your opponent's. Basically, using your opponents all the time. In certain decks, this is just killer. And more importantly, like if you go against Sky Striker, another control deck, you can banish their spells, and that cuts off the additional effects for their own spells. Really good card. We got 3 Infinite Permanents. Then we got 3 Last Stand. Last Stand is a really good one also. What this card does is it negates the activation of a spell and trap that your opponent plays. So if the opponent activates a spell and trap card, you can negate the activation and destroy it. So with that in mind, you got spell and trap negates, you got monster negates, you got banishes, you got destroys. You got a lot of interruption for your opponent's turns. Now for our last card, we are running 1 Crooked Crown. Crooked Crown isn't the best card, but it does come up quite often. Basically what it does is during your main phase, you can special summon 1 Magical Musketeer monster from your hand. And if you do, if your opponent controls monster in that zone, that current column is now unusable. So it does remove a column from them, which is good, but yet again, like I said, it hasn't really come up. The only reason this card's in this deck is you do get a free special summon every now and then, and that does come up if you want to start link climbing. And that is all for the main deck. Now, for our extra deck, we got 1 number 39 Utopia. Abyss Driller. Abyss Driller, like I said, doesn't really come up too often, but it does stop graveyard effects. So every now and then, this can win you the game right away. We got 1 Evil Swarm Exton Knight. Evil Swarm Exton Knight is still an amazing card to this day. What it does is very simple. 1 for a chain during your main phase or your opponent's battle phase. If your opponent has more total cards in their hand and or field than you do, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, destroy all other cards on the field. That's a non-targeting destruction on the field. Really good card. Definitely good. Some cards have destruction immunity, but yet again, it's non-targeting destruction, so it is actually really decent. 1 Baguska. Baguska is a great card. It's a good floodgate. It can actually save your life quite a bit. 1 Utopia Double. Utopia Double allows you to grab your double or nothing from your deck, and that allows you to double your attack points of Utopia 39. We also have Utopia the Lightning. This card's also really good. It's our OTK, one of our OTK enablers. Basically, once per chain during a damage calculation. If this card battles opponent's monster, this card has a Utopia XYZ monster as a monster's material. Quick effect, you can detach 2 cards from this card. This card becomes 5,000. This is a way to get over your opponent's boss monsters pretty well. Then we got 1 Zeus to clear bird states. The most important card in the deck, we got 3 Magical Musketeer Max. This card is broken. It is very good. So what this card does is very simple. You can only activate 1 of these effects per turn, and what it is very simple. You could add a Magical Musketeer spell and trap from different names from your deck to your hand, up to the number of monsters your opponent controls. So if your opponent controls 5 monsters, you could add 5 spells and traps from your deck to your hand. Or if your opponent controls spells and traps, like 4 or 5 of them, you could special summon Magical Musketeer monsters with different names from your deck. So no matter what situation you're in, this card could plus like crazy, and it's really good. Now we have some other link cards just to kind of link climb and help clear the board. We got 1 Nightmare Phoenix. This is a backward removal. We got 1 IP Masquerena. This sets up our Unicorn line. Unicorn allows us to bounce a card into the deck and get rid of it. We got 1 Apollosa Below of the Goddess. This card does come up every now and then as a great monster negate. And then to close out games, 1 Access Cloak Talker. This is one of the easiest and best ways to close out games in this deck. And yeah, with that in mind, Magical Musketeers, this is the updated deck list. I do hope you all enjoy it. Let's get into the games. Alright, the first game is against this new FTK going around. There's a YouTuber called Distant Coder. He's a great YouTuber. He made a deck list. He made a video showcasing this deck of what's going around. We're going to see how well it does going second. It's an FTK, so you can probably tell it's not going well. I opened up really good. I actually normal summoned Starfire, and I'm using Pot of Desires. My hand really sucks. I do got a Monster Negate and 2 other Pot of Desires. Not good. Now, I'm going to activate Pot of Desires, and I banished 10. I got, pretty decent cards banished, so a little upset. But then I draw Double Nothing and Kid Brave. Not the best cards to draw, but I'll deal with it. I am going to special summon my Casper, and I'm going to end my turn here. I don't want to go in my max, because my max is only good. My opponent has cards on the field already. So with this in mind, I'm just going to wait and just see what happens. But with this, I still have quite a bit of good, good cards to go from. Now my opponent's going first. He activates Into the Void. He draws 1. Now at this point, he's going to special summon ZS Ascended Stage. Then he's going to summon 10 Goldfish. 10 Goldfish is going to allow him to special summon 1 level 4 monster. I'm not going to allow that. I'm going to actually activate Cross Dimension and negate his 10 Goldfish. It sounds like a weird negate, but I'm trying to slow him down because I don't know if it's a Utopia or an FTK at this point. So at this point, Casper is going to activate. I do get Desperado. He sets 1, and at this point he goes into Utopia. Utopia's effect is going to activate. He has an effect, by the way, because of the simple fact of Zia Stage. It's going to allow him to get a rank up no more spell. I'm not going to allow this to happen. I'm going to activate Destrudo. Destrudo is going to activate by destroying Utopia, getting that off of the field so he can't link up into it anymore. At this point, he does get hyper rank up. So, and then Starfire is going to affect, and I do get Dock. So at this point, my opponent just concedes because there's nothing else he can do. So this card can be an FTK. So good to know. Other than that, let's get into the actual games. I hope everybody's enjoying. Alright, so this next deck is against Sky Striker. Now this is a really good showcase between control versus control. So as a one control deck versus another control deck, Sky Striker is a really strong control deck that could just easily set up boards that are hard even for meta decks to contend with. And Magical Musketeers are a good rogue deck that's also based on controlling. So we're going to see which one kind of holds up better. In this showcase, it's going to be about who here is playing better. So he's going to activate Terraforming. I can negate it, but I'm going to let that go through. There's no point in negating Terraforming just yet because I don't know what he's playing. He activates Sky Striker. Airspace sets 1 card. He's going to activate Airspace, targeting his card. And he's going to try to activate 3. I am going to negate that because I don't want him to get more advantage. And it seems like he doesn't have a monster. So that's what I'm banking off of. He does activate Mobilize to get Rhea. So I'm at A up at this point. It sucks. He plays Rhea. and then he goes into Shiakuza, and he ends his turn. Shiakuza is going to activate, allowing him to get modular. Then he ends his turn. So, alright. So I did draw another Disudo. Pretty good. I do play one. I'm going to target his field spell, getting rid of it, and then Starfire is going to activate Starfire, but that gets ashed. I'm like, alright, I'm not upset with that. He has 3 spells in his graveyard, so any of his spells now going to activate. I go into Magical Musketeer Max. Max effects are going to activate, allowing me to special summon. But at this point, he max sees me. It's fine. I'm not going to special summon any more than this one. So let's do it. So at this point, I go into Casper, and now I'm going to activate Needle. Needle is going to allow me to banish 3 cards from his graveyard. I'm going to banish his Mobilize, his Aerospace, and his Rhea, and that allows me to activate Casper's effect right after. So I banished 3 of his cards, 2 spells, so he's back down to just 1 spell, and now I get Last Stand, and I have Desperado in my hand on top of that. I'm feeling really good. He activates Maneuver, try to get rid of my Casper. I'm going to chain Last Stand. I need him around so I can get the search. Last Stand's going to actually get rid of his Maneuver. Then Casper's effect's going to activate, allowing me to get yet another card, and I do get Cross Dimension. He activates Multi-Roll. At this point, I'm not going to allow him to get a card to target, so I'm going to activate Disudo, targeting his Link, destroying it. So we're going to see what happens. I'm going to destroy his Link. Multi-Roll's effect goes off, and then at that point, he just concedes. There was no more that he could really do. He only had the 2 spells in his graveyard, so all of his extra spells wouldn't get his bonus effects, so he couldn't actually extend more. And there you go. That's what this control deck could do. Yes, this Sky Striker player didn't play optimally, but hey, I think, like I said, this game went off of skill, and it proved that I played it decently. So with that out of the way, let's get into our next game, and I hope you all continue enjoying and having a wonderful day. Alright, so this next duel is against a Umi control player. Now, if you're unaware, a couple weeks ago, the new water cards came out, and it's a really good control-based deck. And with that in mind, if they set up locks, it's really hard to get out. So they're going to activate a Legendary Ocean. At that point, I'm going to max C right away. I know this deck likes to special summon, especially 2 of their boss monsters, and I'm not going to try to allow that. At this point, he activates Water Hazard and activates Fish Sonar. I'm going to Ash the Fish Sonar because I don't think he actually has any other card in his hand to go off of. So with that, I'm hoping Fish Sonar does get negated and he ends his turn. Alright, I'm feeling really good. At this point, I get 2 Infinite Permanents. I do normal summon Casper. Now I'm going to activate Pot of Desires, banishing the top 10. And at this point, I'm going to draw 2. Casper's effect is going to go off. I did draw Domination and Cross Domination and then let Casper. Feeling pretty confident. Now I'd get Last Stand just so I have a negate. Now I go into Max. Max is going to allow me to special summon 2 more Magical Musketeer cards. So now I'm just going to attack for quite a bit of damage. I did set my Infinite Permanence. So this is going to allow me to attack for quite a bit of damage here. A little under half. Feeling pretty confident in my turn. I have a lot of negates, a lot of stuff I could go into. He activates Foolish Burial of Goods, sending Ice Barrier. Ice Barrier effect's going to activate. He banishes it to get send a level 5. He gets Ocean Dragon Lord to his hand. Ocean Dragon Lord's going to summon itself. And at this point, I do have to send 2 cards because I'm only allowed to control 1 water. Now, Ocean Dragon Lord effect's going to activate, but I'm going to Cross Domination that, making a 0 attack and defense. And on top of that, like I said before, just being able to get a special summon through Crossfire. Crossfire means Starlord's going to activate. I have to send another card. Yet again, I'm feeling pretty confident. Infinite Permanence, I'm going to get rid of its effect. Now I go into Max. Now at this point, I have a lot of different plays. I activate Max and I special summon from the deck yet again. I go into, I special summon 2 monsters. I summon Starfire and Kit. Then I normal summon Casper. Now I'm going to start link climbing. I go into IP Masquerena. Now at this point, I'm going to go into Unicorn. Unicorn's effect is going to activate. I do get rid of one of my cards and bounce his Ocean Lord back into his deck. And now I go into Access Card Talker. Access Card Talker's effects are going to activate, increasing his attack to 5,300, and I attack for game. So yeah, as you can see, this deck can do really well against other control decks. So with that in mind, we'll go into our last duel, and I hope everybody's enjoying. Alrighty, so this next duel is just a fun one. It's not the most competitive. It is against Blue Eyes, but yet again, it just shows how well this deck does getting over certain boss monsters. So with that in mind, I hope you all enjoy. So I go by Casper first, and we all seen this line activate Pot of Desires, and it's going to allow me to draw 2 cards. Casper's effect, I do get Last Stand. So this is quite a bit of interruptions. I got to destroy a monster gate and a spell entrapment negate. I'm feeling pretty confident, so I end my turn there. Also, I banished through Pot of Desires, 1 Starfire, Call Bide, you know, pretty important stuff, but I can make it work. So my opponent activates Bingo Machine. I maxi. I'm like, yep, I'm going to maxi this. Let's see what happens. Bingo Machine activates, revealing the top 3. He gets 2 Ultimate Fusions and True Light, revealing a Blue Eyes. At this point, he goes into Blue Eyes Alternative. Sorry, hold up. So Blue Eyes Alternative. At this point, he did special summon Blue Eyes by Alternative. I did draw a Kid Blade. I activated Deshudo, getting rid of his Alternative Dragon. I don't want him to get more cards. Casper's effect is going to activate, allowing me to search, but he Ash Blossoms it. So I'm like, alright, that's fine. At this point, Melody Awakens. He does get rid of his Dragonstone, but yet again, I'm going to negate this because I don't want him drawing cards. He has 2 cards left. One of them is a Blue Rise. And now he sets, and I'm assuming that's the true Stone of Awakening, so I'm feeling pretty confident. And at this point, his effect went off to get this guy. He's going to add a Ritual Spell of Polymerization, and he gets Chaos Form. So I'm like, alright, this is interesting. Blue Eyes effect, he does get now Chaos Max Dragon. So now I know all cards in his hands. And I'm like, alright, I can still play with this. Activate Disputo, getting rid of his monster. He activates True Light. I don't have an out for this just yet. He's going to special summon 1 Blue Eyes Red Dragon. And now he gets Alternative. I do get rid of his other one. Casper's effects are going to activate. And I do get Cricket Cook. I activate Cricket Cook. Cricket Cook's going to let me special summon Doc. Now I'm going to go into Max. Max effects is going to allow me to use one of its 2 as effects. It activates. I'm going to add another Magical Musketeer. And I do get Last Stand because I was going to try to negate the Chaos Max. I get rid of my double nothing of popping a True Light. True Light effects are going to activate, getting rid of his monsters. And at this point, I'm going to attack some damage. So I attack for 19 and 14, and I'm going to end my turn. I'm feeling pretty confident about this still, so we're going to see what ends up happening. My opponent activates the right stone, targeting his Blue Eyes Alternative. I activate Cricket Cook. Cricket Cook is going to allow me to special summon Kid Brave. So feeling pretty good, but I'm going to make a misplay, and we'll talk about that misplay here in a moment. He goes into Alternative. I'm going to yet again Cross Domination Alternative. Doc is going to activate, allowing me to get Disputo. And at this point, he activates Sage Vise Blue. I Disputo that because I don't want him synchroing into a 9. And you're going to see the misplay. I activate Kid Play's effect here, and I shouldn't have done that. Kid Play's effect. So when I activate, I do get rid of my Last Stand, and I draw 2. At this point, he activates Chaos Form, getting rid of his Blue Eyes, and he Ritual Summons the Chaos Max Dragon. Not a good card, but it's a lot of fun to use, I'm not going to lie. Blue Eyes, Abyss activates. I activate Dancing Needle, just getting rid of all of his targets he could ever have, so that way he can't do anything with them. Trying to stop his play, and at this point he does attack for quite a bit of damage, but not enough. So we're gonna see what ends up happening, and hopefully I could clear his board and win. I get Ash Blossom Joy Springs. At this point, I'm going to go into my Max. So Kid Brave, link off to Max. Max effect, I'm going to grab 2 spells. So I'm feeling really confident about this. Activate Cross Dimension on his Alternative Dragon again. It allows me to activate a card from Max. I do get Casper. Casper's effect, I'm going to special summon Disputo. His effect, Casper's effect is going to allow me to get Starfire. Now I'm going to normal summon Starfire. Now at this point, I'm going to start my link climbing. I'm going to IP Masquerena. And I'm going to link those off for Unicorn. Activate Unicorn's effect here on accident. Get rid of one of my Joy Springs, and I bounced my whole trap. Yet again, didn't mean to do that. But I'm going to go into Access Code Talker. Access Code Talkers allow me to activate my Unicorn. I could attack over his Chaos Max. So with that, I was able to finally get over his boss monster. He normal summons Maiden. He uses Sage. I'm going to negate that with Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. And with this, he has no more plays, and it's GG's. So he can't do anything. And yeah, my opponent just concedes out of frustration. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed these games. Magical Musketeers is a really, really fun deck. If you like rogue strategies and rogue control strategies, this is one you might want to, consider. So with that all being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Just thank you guys for the wonderful support. I can't believe I'm at like 105 subscribers. I never thought I would even get to 20, to be honest with you guys. Just thank you guys so much. This has been amazing, and I'll catch you all next time.